Welcome to NexGenEdu's AI Innovation Series, where we take a quick, candid look at real people and their views and the use of AI to transform higher education. No hype, just insight. Lawrence Rue brings over 30 years of experience at the intersection of technology and education. Each episode features conversations with inspiring individuals who are passionate about helping others succeed through learning. And now, your host, Lawrence Rue.
Thanks, Chris, and welcome everybody to AI Innovation. Today I have with me Claire Brady. How you doing today, Claire?
I'm great, Lawrence. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show. I'd like to start off just letting you do a little introduction and in the form of a way of a question, maybe like, what do you do and why does it matter? I think that's a good way to start.
Sure. Well, at heart, I'm a higher education lifer. I have 26 years of experience across teaching, administration, executive leadership. I spent about a decade on executive cabinets doing a significant number of technology integrations in the student affairs and enrollment management space. And for the last 3 years, I've been full-time consulting and coaching almost exclusively in the area of AI. So I help colleges and universities as they navigate AI adoption in thoughtful and intentional ways. Everything from training and development and speaking to full long-term AI tool integrations, how to choose the right tool, how to match the specific need to the specific technology and align it with your academic and student success mission. And I've been honored over this time to work with over 100 institutions. So
Wow,
things are busy in the AI space.
that's a good number. And you've braved the book world. I heard you're an author now.
Absolutely. I have a book coming out this spring called AI with Intention, the leadership guide for higher education. It's really hands-on, pick it up when you need it, go to the chapter that you specifically need around how to create culture around AI integration, how to do purchasing, how to create AI readiness, how to make sure that your tools are accessible, all of that. I'm really excited for the book to come out this spring.
Yeah, and finding something you could put in writing in the fast evolving area of AI must have been a real challenge. But
Well, Lawrence, and part of it is people kept saying to me, I'd go to campus and they'd say, do you have a book? And I'd say, it's AI. I can't have a book about AI. It's evolving
yeah,
too quickly. But what I figured out is the technology might not be evergreen, but the skills that you need to do this well, those are absolutely evergreen and could be covered in a book. And that's really what the book focuses on.
awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to reading it.
Thanks.
So in your work with the colleges that you're doing, like, what are you most passionate about right now? What are you seeing out there that's really driving you?
That's such a good question. I think I'm most passionate about helping higher ed leaders close the gap between good intentions and real action when it comes to AI. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I work with leaders all the time who genuinely want to do this work well. They care about students, they care about accessibility and protecting the human side of education. They know AI is here to stay, but they're still figuring out how to turn those values into clear decisions, into policy, into day-to-day practice. So what's missing there for me is clarity. The campuses that either move too cautiously or launch initiatives that don't quite deliver what they hoped, those institutions are starting to really question the value of AI. My role is to help leaders slow down where it matters most, get clear on the guardrails, and then move forward with confidence and competence. So, at its best, AI should create more time for human connection and more capacity for faculty and staff to focus on what only people can do, right? That's the
Yeah,
version of AI I'm most excited and passionate to help institutions build.
yeah, keeping humanity at the center of AI
Yeah,
in
and
your
humans in
solutions,
the
right?
driver's seat, right?
Yeah, right. One thing I've had some conversation with presidents recently, and there's buzzwords turn up, and eventually people get tired of them. And one of those I've heard is transformation. They're like, "What does
Oof.
that mean?" So, in your, if you were talking to one of these presidents, how would you re-sell them on transformation? That transformation can happen.
I would tell them that education is the ultimate place for transformation. It's literally our business, right? It's literally our ROI. So I would say to them, not only have they done this before in a different way, though, right? When we the onset of the pandemic, we went fully online. When we brought social media on board, when we brought websites on board, right? All of that, we've done kind of massive transformation before. But I think the most applicable example is the iPhone. Think about in 2007 when the iPhone came out, there were the folks that went out and immediately got in line and bought it. And there were the folks like me that still had a Samsung and were still using a stylus, right? And it might have taken us a little bit longer to come on board. We could not have known in 2007 how the iPhone was going to fundamentally change the way that we lived and we worked. And that's how I want them to frame AI. One, they have experience doing massive, important technological transformation, but they also have a roadmap for ambiguity, uncertainty, being a novice at something, watch something evolve slowly. And so they have the experience to do it. They just need to pull back and not kind of get on board with, I'm behind, everybody else is ahead of us. I can't make decisions slowly or thoughtfully because the technology is moving so fast. Those are the arguments that I'm constantly kind of pushing back against and saying, no, not for these multi-million-dollar investments, not for these incredibly important decisions you're making that could either help or harm the student, right?
Yeah.
Or the faculty or the staff. So I keep going back to this idea that they have both competence and they need to build their confidence.
Well, let's say somebody has both of those. Like, what are you seeing as the next biggest blocker, for cultural change that's needed for the adoption of these tools?
I think it's our reaction to resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think resistance is a data point. What helps us most is involving people early, right? People want to be a part of something. In the absence of information, people make stuff up. So we want to involve folks before decisions are finalized, not after they get announced. The institutions that are making real progress don't just roll something out and then ask for feedback as a formality. They bring faculty, staff, and students into the conversation from the start. When the problem is actually being named, when the options are being explored, and when success is being defined. That shifts the feeling from this is being done to me to we're building this together. Mm-hmm. Another big piece for folks is psychological safety. The world of higher ed is very hard and very messy right now, and our bandwidth is very thin, right? We're being attacked from all angles. So making it okay to be a learner, to be a novice, to be new at something, to not have all the answers yet. So when learners and leaders model curiosity instead of certainty, they say things like, well, I'm still figuring this out, or here's what didn't work. And when they say those things, it creates permission for others to experiment without fear. And that matters a lot in higher ed, where expertise is deeply valued and people are used to having the right answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So trust really grows when institutions know that experimentation has boundaries, when leaders are willing to pause, adjust, or even stop an AI initiative when it isn't serving students well, and when they believe that the process to get there is real, that it's not manufactured or artificial, right? A pilot should mean learning. It's not a permanent commitment. And so over time, resistance doesn't disappear, but it does evolve. It does change. It moves from this will never work to how do we make sure this is done well? And that shift turns skepticism into shared responsibility. And that's when I think that meaningful change can actually happen. So I always say resistance is a data point. It's an important part of the process, and you should embrace it as much as you should embrace that person who's out there championing that AI implementation.
I saw a nice podcast, a marketing podcast with Dreamforce, and they were kind of talking about that same thing, how these are all pilots and they're evolving all the time and they're collecting data, they're adjusting. So AI isn't just a one and done. It's, hey, let's keep on top of this thing. And then an interesting thing I found out about it actually created jobs for humans. The AI ended up having managers of AI. So created actual people who manage the AI piece. I thought it was kind of interesting. So my next question is for the lowest hanging fruit with the biggest value, what are you seeing that people are doing, like as a project?
I'm seeing so many interesting things that are kind of unsexy. I got to be real with you, right? I'm seeing folks that are really doing great work around cleaning up their data and getting ready for kind of the capabilities we're going to have at our fingertips. I'm seeing really good work in individual offices where people are really embracing it to tailor messages to specific student groups.
Mhm.
or they're using it to analyze and act on data much quicker than they ever have in the past, right? I'm seeing faculty partner with students in really wonderful discussions around the ethics of AI and what's responsible
Mhm.
AI and how can we use this to contribute to learning and not kind of dull your senses, right? And where I think that I see opportunity on the opposite end of that is I really hope that the most prolific AI products we use in the coming years, we don't even know they're there. We don't even
Yeah.
know the logo behind them, right? That we've integrated into our systems in such a way that students just know they can get an answer relatively quickly and that they can be confident in what that answer is. That faculty can use tools that amplify the impact of their teaching and learning, that staff get time back to do the really human things that we got into this work to do. So I'm kind of hoping for a super unsexy version of AI as it comes in the following years, that the tools get integrated. Right now, people are logging into so many systems and they're logging into an AI system and they're
Mhm.
copying and pasting and pulling in. And I just think that is not, that's adding more time. It's not taking away
Mhm.
time. I know that the AI tools are the worst they're going to be right now. They're only going to get better. And so
Yeah.
we can trust them more going forward. We're not going to spend so much time verifying for hallucinations and other things, right? So I think, especially as it relates to generative AI, I just think that folks are only kind of getting at the very cusp of it right now.
Yeah.
But the real exciting work is when it starts to have your learning management system, your CRM, and your student information system integrated and talking to each other and leveraging each of the technologies. That's where I'm most excited.
I tell you an interesting use case for me. My son, he's getting into AI, and he came up with some ideas that I couldn't even understand. And even as a technologist, and I was like,
Really?
dude, I just don't get it. I don't want to give away his idea because it's
Sure.
pretty neat. So he told AI to explain it to me in 50-year-old terms, and it did it. And I said, oh, that's what you meant. So it helped to
I
bridge the
love it.
gap between early 20s and early 50s, or maybe mid 50s. But
That's great.
thought it was interesting. When you look at people, I mean, AI, when you look at the movies and stuff, there's always fear of AI coming to life. But what fear are you seeing that's probably, the most unfounded or the one that's easiest to overcome on campuses?
That it's going to replace humans, Lawrence. I
Hmm.
hear that. And the interesting piece for me is when I speak with leadership, they're very clear that they don't have a plan to reduce headcount and replace humans with robots, right? That's
Hmm.
very clear to me. I'm not sure they're communicating that clearly to the rest of the team. And then
Hmm.
when I speak to staff and faculty, they have a genuine fear that their job is going to go away or that it's going to become automated or that they're going to become obsolete. And higher education is in the business of transformation. It is a fully human business. If students could go fully online and have zero interaction, they would, but they're not. They're not choosing that path. Students are not choosing this kind of transactional path for the most part. And so this idea that humans are going to be made obsolete by AI, for me, truly human-centered AI with the human in the driver's seat means that we're freeing up time from those highly manual, highly error-driven, processes that we've created. I often describe technology in higher ed as a ball of rubber bands, and we just keep adding more rubber bands to it, right? And then we're surprised when we have to go fix something, how hard it is. And so as I work with institutions, this idea that yes, there are roles and responsibilities that will be moved to agents and other types of AI tools. Absolutely. But what this could bring for our field is freeing us up from the manual, joy sucking labor that so many of our faculty and staff have to engage in throughout the day to make our systems work together, to pull the real value
Yep.
out of the many, many systems we have. And so that's the message I really want to send folks. I can't guarantee that your job will be exactly the same in a few years. But
Yeah.
what I can tell you is if you adopt these AI technologies thoughtfully in a way that's aligned to your mission, in a way that is aligned to your values, you will very soon find efficiencies and get time back to do the relational work that we really all want to be doing and
Yeah.
that we know has the greatest impact on student success.
And when I hear you say those things, those were the same fears in ERP adoption, It's all about this is how I do it today. What does that mean for me tomorrow? And it's
Exactly.
overcoming those with, hey, with the student at the center, like we need to make these changes to make it better. And I think anybody who participates in these projects, they gain, they get value from learning about the AI
Oh,
and
yeah.
learning how to adopt it. So I think it's a great win-win for the institution. I was going
And
to shoot off. Oh, go ahead.
I was just say there is a fundamental difference between AI literacy and AI fluency,
Mhm.
right? This idea that you understand how the technology works and that you can use it well in tailored and specific ways. Those two things are really the focus, another area that leaders can focus on,
Yeah.
building the AI literacy and building the AI fluency of their teams.
I think there was one when we talked earlier, there was one question I had that I thought was interesting is, do you see institutions adopting like a base level training for AI as a fundamental, like we do anti-bribery or sexual
Sure,
harassment, like
sure.
that sort of stuff?
I think that some do, and it's definitely coming. My concern is that it is a training that is very perfunctory or feels very compliance oriented, and we all know how that goes, Lawrence, right?
Mm,
And so I think it has to be followed up with practice. And when I talk about training, really focused in AI, I talk about the mind, the heart, and the hands. So we've got to cognitively understand what's happening in the field. We've got to know what the technology does and how it operates. What are the ethical issues and questions we should be asking? And then we also need to be thinking about the heart, right? How do people feel about it? I always ask one question when I do a big keynote. It's basically, how are you feeling about AI? And the folks who say they love it and that they embrace it fully is maybe 5% of the room. And the
mm,
rest of the room is shocked because they just think everybody around them loves it, right? And that's
mm.
not necessarily true. People have legitimate concerns. And then finally, the hands. They need to practice. They need to get in there and actually
Yeah,
use AI tools to help them do their work, right? So I think that whatever training and development an institution decides to really resource, they should be thinking about it mind, heart, and hands.
yeah, I hear you. And that 5% surprises me too, but I do work for a technology company, Forelli. We're trying to integrate it into everything we do, whether it's process improvement, helping institutions get better. But even like my family, my kids, like they all seem to really be, heavy users of it. So
Oh, yeah. But I will tell you, Lawrence, the other 5% are the folks that say, I hate it, the robots are coming.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
about 5% as well. And
They
their
watch
hands go up.
Terminator one too many times.
Right, right, right.
Well, I have a couple quick fire questions if
Right?
you don't mind. Do you like a big vision or small pilot projects?
Big vision all the way,
Top down or bottom up?
bottom up every time.
Bottom up. Okay. One word that you hope defines your work as you leave an institution.
Intentional.
Mhm.
Every
Nice.
decision you make sends a signal. Every implementation teaches you something. Every choice reflects your values. Do everything on purpose.
I think that's true too. As a CIO, past CIO, that's one of the things we would say about technology. Like you don't just want to do technology, you want it to be aligned with the institution, help with the mission. And this is just a new technology. And to me, technology isn't a department. It's what an institution uses to help students be
It's
successful. So
culture. It's
yeah,
their it's really their operating system, right? Their culture
yeah.
is their operating system. And AI is just a major part of that.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Any last comments before we drop off?
I just appreciate everything that you're doing to kind of get the word
Yep.
out, Lauren. So thank you so much.
Yep. And I look forward to seeing you at a conference
Yeah.
here soon. I know I saw you at ACCT as one of the keynote speakers, if not I can't remember exactly. Sorry about that. But maybe we'll catch up at AACC or one of the other ones coming up here in the future.
And even community college trustees have a million questions about AI.
Yeah,
So if your trustees have questions about it, I guarantee your students and your staff do as well.
definitely. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thanks for joining us on AI Innovation, where we explore how AI is reshaping higher education with insight, integrity, and imagination. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn or YouTube for updates and future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep asking the big questions.